One of the things I'm guilty of with my photography outings is only going to places that I know there's going to be a good opportunity at, something with a good subject, and all I'm hoping for is maybe some nice conditions to just improve the image. And I'm trying to get away from that a wee bit. So I decided one day to pretty much just pull over. I've passed this location a few times. It's just somewhere where there's some water, rocks, and hills in the background. I didn't know if there was definitely going to be anything good at it, so I decided to take a chance and just spend an afternoon wandering around it. I always like to start just taking a senseless safety image, something to get the camera out, get you thinking, and just getting you in the mood for taking some photos. It was quite a flat day. The clouds were pretty dull in the sky, so I wasn't expecting anything fantastic. This would give you an opportunity for a sunset at this location. The loch would just lead up towards where the sun would set during the winter time, and probably give you quite a nice image as a whole. I find it a bit more enjoyable just wandering around these areas where there's no paths, no suggestions. These days, generally, if you go to a location, a path will pretty much guide you to where the best spot is to take the photo, because everyone will naturally look for the same sort of things. So it's nice to have a bit of a blank canvas and let your mind think a wee bit more and a bit more freely. The reflections in the water really caught my ear here, with the rock in the foreground and the reeds just reflecting throughout, making the mirror image quite nice and interesting. While the light was still incredibly flat, the clouds were being nice enough to just dance around the middle of the mountains in the distance, just creating some nice interest in the background. Well, I was trying to keep my feet dry, but I didn't quite manage that. What I was aiming to do here was just use these rocks in the foreground to essentially mirror the mountains in the background. It's not quite worked the way I was hoping it would. The rocks are just a bit smooth, they don't really match the shape or even the sort of texture of the hills in the background. For images like these, it's always good to still take them and sort of reflect on them later on. It'll sort of pay off when you're at other locations and you've already got ideas in your head and you're going to know a bit more about what works and what you're looking for. With sunset closing in, I started to head further west and slightly north towards the higher, rockier ground. I came across this small lochs with an absolute fantastic reflection going on. The wind was so still on this day that all the water was just really nice and calm. Using a polarizer, I just broke through the reflection a wee bit closer to the foreground and just lined up some of the rocks that were poking through the surface water. Unfortunately, the sun was essentially over my left shoulder at this point and not really casting any interesting light onto the rocks, and the light was very much in the wrong direction. Seeing that sunset was starting to look a bit more promising, I skipped on from this location and got to the highest point in the area. Unfortunately, just as I arrived, the clouds completely moved in and covered that sun as it was going down. So there wasn't much left to do but have a wee seat and chill out and just enjoy the views. I hope you enjoyed the video. My main goal for this one for myself was to just drop expectations of an area and just explore and see what's there, and understand that there'll be other days with better conditions, but just scout it out and hopefully it pays off later on, if not on that day. All my photos can be found on Instagram at 4pads. There's a Ko-fi account if you want to help support the channel, and a like, subscribe, any sort of comments are really appreciated just to help traction for the algorithm. Thank you and goodbye.